Okay. Let's start the process, human respiration process here. I think we need to start with human respiration, as we are seeing the anatomy of trachea and lungs in the previous class. So human respiration. The respiration in human involves, the respiration in human involves the steps here. We are writing the stepwise. Human involves the following steps. So let's start. Number one, breathing. Breathing, or we can say it as pulmonary ventilation. Breathing or pulmonary ventilation. So shall we make sequence for this breathing, pulmonary ventilation? So where to do here? From atmospheric air to alveoli of lungs, isn't it? So shall we remind once again the total process?
Yes, sir.
Shall start. Let's start. So from where should we get start? External nostrils. External nostrils opens into
Vestibular part.
vestibular part. Vestibular part opens into respiratory part. Respiratory part, then olfactory portion. Vestibular part, respiratory part, olfactory part. What do you say commonly? These three commonly collectively called?
Nasal chamber.
Yeah, these three collectively called nasal chamber. Okay, olfactory part opens into
Internal nostril.
internal nostrils. Olfactory part opens into internal nostrils. Internal nostrils opens into nasopharynx. Very good, very good. Nasopharynx, then laryngopharynx, then laryngopharynx opens into glottis. Glottis opens into
Primary bronchiole.
glottis opens into larynx. Larynx into trachea. Trachea into primary, then secondary, then tertiary. Primary, secondary, tertiary bronchi. Then primary, secondary, tertiary bronchi. Tertiary bronchi opens into primary bronchi, secondary bronchi, tertiary bronchi, and terminal bronchiole. Primary, secondary, tertiary. Yeah, terminal bronchiole. Then terminal bronchiole opens into alveolar duct. Terminal bronchiole opens into alveolar duct. Okay, so alveolar duct opens into that the smallest unit of lung. Who is that smallest unit of lung? Alveoli. So, yeah, alveoli of lung. Just we reached over. This is what we say, that breathing or pulmonary ventilation. The first step here, breathing or pulmonary ventilation, which include that atmosphere to alveoli, or else we can call it as alveoli to atmosphere. Atmosphere to alveoli. Who is going to flow atmosphere to alveoli? That we are taking oxygen from alveoli to atmosphere. We are giving carbon dioxide. Okay, so that the first process, breathing or pulmonary excuse me, ventilation. Next, number two, diffusion of gases. Diffusion of gases. 1 minute. I'll make it. Okay, so diffusion of gases. Yes, here the diffusion of gases. So from where to where? Simply we can say it is across the alveolar membrane. across the alveolar membrane. Here we have to say across the alveolar membrane. Okay. Next, number 3. The transport of gases. Wait a minute. Here I'll show you that itself the diagram. The alveoli. That let me show you alveoli. This is alveolar duct. Alveoli composed of alveoli are composed of simple squamous epithelium, isn't it? So let me draw that. The alveoli are composed of simple squamous epithelium, very thin epithelium. Okay, so then that across the alveolar membrane means this is alveolar duct. Now only we said alveolar duct from the last branch of trachea supplied oxygen. So this particular oxygen, where it should go? It should go into the blood capillaries, isn't it? It should go into the blood capillaries. So that's simply what you can say here. This is simple squamous epithelium of the blood capillaries. Again, this is a simple squamous epithelium. So what we are saying here, gaseous exchange between these two. What I mean, between the alveoli, this is, wait a minute. Let me show you that basement membrane which is present between. Okay, so because this is going to be question for us, already asked in the NEET. Okay, so here let me draw the full blood capillary. This is the blood capillary, the endothelium of the blood capillary. So that is also composed of simple squamous epithelium. So let me write here. This is alveoli made of simple squamous epithelium. Alveoli which are made of simple squamous epithelium. Now we are talking about this is endothelium of blood capillary. The endothelium of blood capillary is also made up of simple squamous epithelium. Okay, so then it is also made up of simple squamous epithelium. Then in between them, we'll find a basement membrane between the two simple squamous epithelial cells of alveoli and endothelium of blood capillary. Or blood capillaries itself made up of simple squamous. What is this? This is basement membrane. Okay, so diffusion of gases like this. Where it should go means it should go into the RBC. This is blood, in the blood capillary. Okay, so this oxygen should reach here. That you need to understand. This oxygen should reach and should bind with the hemoglobin and form oxyhemoglobin. So diffusion membrane, if the question is asked over, diffusion membrane include, yes, diffusion membrane include simple squamous epithelium. Simple squamous epithelium. And in between them, the basement membrane. Then first simple squamous epithelium, that belongs to, yeah, need to say here, simple squamous epithelium belongs to alveoli. That first one is belongs to alveoli. So simple squamous epithelium of alveoli. These are simple squamous epithelium of alveoli and simple squamous epithelium of blood capillary. Simple squamous epithelium of alveoli, simple squamous epithelium of blood capillary, and in between them there is a basement membrane. We call it as diffusion membrane. We say it as diffusion membrane. That's it. This is the diffusion of gases across the alveolar membrane into the blood capillaries. Diffusion membrane. Okay. Next, number 3. Number 3, the transport of gases. Third one here, transport of gases. From where to where? transport of gases. So who do this particular transport of gases? Transport of gases occurs by blood. So between the lungs and tissues, between the lungs and tissues, that means here between the lungs and tissues, we can say here like this. So that means lungs to tissues. What we transfer from lungs to tissues? Oxygen. Tissues to lungs, carbon dioxide. So let's start here the sequence of this particular lungs, which I mean alveoli, isn't it? So from the alveoli, okay, I do some help here. Pulmonary capillaries. Okay, what next? Okay, here also I'll do pulmonary vein. Pulmonary vein opens into. Now I think you better able to say this is our first class. Left atria, then left ventricle, then left systemic aorta, left ventricle, then left systemic aorta. Then reach to the tissues. Here we have to introduce one more capillary at tissues. We call capillaries at tissues said to be systemic capillaries. So systemic capillaries to tissues. So do remember these two things new here. One is pulmonary capillaries, blood capillaries at lungs. What do you say? The blood capillaries at lungs is called pulmonary capillaries. Blood capillaries at lungs is said to be pulmonary capillaries, and blood capillaries at tissues we call systemic capillaries. Okay, so this is the journey, transport of gases from the blood between the lungs to tissue and tissues to lungs. Okay, number 4, utilize diffusion of oxygen. Diffusion of oxygen. Number 4, diffusion of oxygen or carbon dioxide. Oxygen from tissues to systemic capillaries to tissues, and diffusion of oxygen. Let us write both here, carbon dioxide between in the systemic capillaries to the tissues. So let me show you diffusion of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the systemic capillaries and the tissues. Let me show you. Now here actually we came up to systemic capillaries. Already we came up to systemic capillaries. So I will show you directly here from the heart. Left ventricle, what we said, left ventricle opens into?
Left systemic aorta.
Yeah, left systemic aorta. This left systemic aorta supplying blood to body parts, we said already, isn't it? Yeah, left systemic aorta, we said it's a bigger blood vessel, and the left systemic aorta, we said it already supplying blood to the body parts. Okay, so this particular blood vessel, when it reaches to the tissues, it will be branched into, when it reaches to the tissues, it will be branched into systemic capillaries. That I want to show you. Okay, so that I'll show you the see here. So these are systemic capillaries. Okay, and interestingly, all these capillaries are going to fuse and form venules. We'll discuss about this in the coming classes, in the coming days. Just try to find out the difference, that's all. Just try to find out. This is blood vessel. So why I'm drawing the blood vessel this much thicker, and why the blood capillary is thinner? With anatomical difference, we are going to discuss in the coming chapter body fluid circulation, but at least you need to understand at present the blood capillaries are thin. The blood capillaries are thin, and now the supply of particular oxygen and carbon dioxide between the systemic capillaries and tissues. These are systemic capillaries. Okay, then these are tissues. Okay, so from here we can say actually what should come out? Oxygen. So who need to go in? Who need to go in?
Oxygen.
Huh? Who need to go into the blood capillaries?
Tissues, sir.
From the tissues.
CO2.
Carbon dioxide should go back, oxygen should come. So that means here you need to understand when oxygen comes here, what happens in the cells and tissues?
Exchange of gas.
When oxygen comes here in the tissues, what the tissues will do with that oxygen?
For energy, sir.
How oxygen gives energy?
Breakdown of glucose.
Okay, finally. Okay, so that's what we can say, utilization of oxygen. Utilization of oxygen. The oxygen, whatever the oxygen which entered inside, utilization. So who utilized the oxygen? That now finally oxygen reached to the tissues, isn't it? Oxygen reached to the tissues. So whatever the oxygen reached to the tissues, what the cells will do, what the cells are going to do with this particular oxygen, that's what we are talking about. This oxygen will break down in the presence of whatever the oxygen will enter here in the tissues. So what is happening? What is happening with that oxygen? That oxygen entered in the tissues will break down in the presence of the oxygen will break the glucose, and that result the formation of carbon dioxide. What will come? Carbon dioxide, water, and energy. Not a new equation, what I am saying from the beginning. Utilization of oxygen, simply we can say here. So breakdown of glucose with the help of oxygen. And we get some energy. Okay. So we call it as a cellular respiration. We can say it as cellular respiration. The sequence which we have seen in the beginning of the class, I'm just categorized these particular sequences. Let me show you once again that I just categorized. Means breathing or pulmonary ventilation, which is happening between atmosphere to lungs. Then diffusion of gases across the alveolar membrane between the alveoli and pulmonary capillaries. Then transport of gases from the pulmonary capillaries to the systemic capillaries to the tissues. Then diffusion of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the systemic capillaries and the tissues. Okay. Then utilization of oxygen. Okay. So now we are going to see clearly that what are the events played in our body for intake of oxygen, for the giving of carbon dioxide. That means gaseous exchange between the systemic capillaries and tissues, and gaseous exchange between the pulmonary capillaries and lungs. So what are the diffusion mechanisms? What works over to take the oxygen in and to bring out the carbon dioxide out? All the issues we are going to discuss in the coming chapter. Okay. So before that, first of all, we need to see mechanism of respiration. Need to see the mechanism of respiration. Mechanism of breathing or respiration. In general term, people say it as respiration. We already categorized it here. So what you are doing, I am doing respiration. People say what YPC student should say, breathing. I am doing breathing, only breathing, ventilation. What is respiration with the means of BPC student? This is respiration. We can call this as cellular respiration even. Breakdown of the glucose with the help of oxygen is called respiration actually. This is called actually the respiration. That the catabolic reactions and the resultant production. that catabolic reaction done by oxygen with glucose, and the resultant production is going to be carbon dioxide. Okay. Now, let's talk about the breathing. What is breathing? Breathing is a process, we can say here. Breathing is a means of maximizing mic ready aithunnattundi, maximizing the process of gaseous exchange. Gaseous. So mic same sir, mic ready aitunda, mic సార్ మైక్ రెడీ చేస్తున్నాడు. ఎవరు? సాయ ఆదిత్యనా? నీది కదా. ఓకే, నెక్స్ట్. So breathing is a process. What do you say? That gaseous exchange process will be increased by breathing. How? The movement of air into and out of the lungs is carried out by creating a pressure gradient. This is very important. How we create pressure gradient, which we are going to see now. Creating pressure gradient between the lungs and atmosphere. So the movement of air into and out from the lungs is carried out by creating a pressure gradient. Okay. So that particular pressure gradient, which we are going to discuss it now. Pressure gradient discussion, we are going to make it now. Then process of breathing involves 2 steps. Breathing involves 2 steps. What are the 2 steps of the breathing? Inspiration and expiration. Yeah, we say it as inspiration. Breathing involves 2 steps, 2 stages. We say such as inspiration and expiration. Inspiration as well as expiration. So what makes inspiration? What makes expiration? We have to see here. Okay. So for that, the muscles helpful for the breathing process. The muscles helpful for the breathing process. Let's see about the muscles which are helpful for the process of breathing. Muscles helpful for the process of breathing are number 1, external intercostal muscles. Intercostal, the word should be that you need to correlate with the ribs. Muscles which attach to the ribs, muscles which associate with the ribs, we can say that intercostal muscles. Okay, number 2, internal intercostal muscles. Okay, number 3, radial muscles. Radial muscle or phrenic muscles are simple words you can say to understand easily. Diaphragm muscles. Okay, so the muscles of the diaphragm, radial muscles, diaphragm muscles. Okay, so these are the muscles helpful for the process. Remember them: external intercostal muscle, internal intercostal muscle, and radial muscles are, and phrenic muscles are the diaphragm muscles. We can say here these are the phrenic muscles or diaphragm muscles. So these 3 muscles you have to remember. With these muscles we have to run the show. Okay, so the total show we need to run with them only. So these are the muscles. Then next, so in the process we need to see first of all inspiration, then after we'll go for expiration. Let me show you inspiration, the events which related to the inspiration. First of all, we can say contraction of external intercostal muscles. During inspiration, contraction of external intercostal muscle. What are the external intercostal muscles? We can say here muscles related to the ribs, as I said to you. Next, the contraction of radial muscles. What is radial muscles or phrenic muscles? Muscles related to the diaphragm. Okay, so just I'll draw a small diagram to understand this much better. Okay, so imagine this is the vertebral column, this is the vertebral column. Side photograph I am drawing here. This is the dorsal vertebral column and ventral. Ventral, what is present? Sternum. And lateral side. Lateral side, what are there?
Ribs.
Diaphragm.
Ribs.
Sorry, ribs. Ribs are present. And the posterior side. Who is on the posterior side? The dome-shaped diaphragm, isn't it? Now, so we have to imagine it actually, that more or less, I'll show you that particular process of respiration animation I'll show you. But let me see here. At the time when contraction of external intercostal muscles occur, sternum will be pulled forward. Sternum will be pulled forward. Okay, so this is one I am writing here. Sternum pulled forward. Okay, sternum pulled forward. We can feel it actually. Okay, that brings the space. What is this? Dorsal space. Dorsal side. This is ventral side. So that brings the space in this direction, isn't it? So space comes dorso-ventrally. Space comes dorso-ventrally. Now, by the contraction of phrenic muscle, so this particular diaphragm, whatever the diaphragm is just drawn, is just shown as a dome shape, that will come down. That means here like this. So here sternum is pulled forward. Sternum is pulled forward. And here diaphragm will down. So this is anterior, isn't it? This is the face actually. That if we imagine, this is the face we are talking about. So diaphragm, this is the anterior side, this is posterior side. We have to say like this. So diaphragm, dome-shaped diaphragm, by the contraction of phrenic muscle, dome-shaped diaphragm will becomes flat. Dome-shaped diaphragm becomes flat. Space comes anterior-posteriorly. Space comes anterior-posteriorly. So after the contraction, how will it be? That let us see once after the contraction, what that how it can be seen over. Let me draw the same vertebral column, dorsal side, and what we said, the sternum on the ventral side. So let me go with the sternum. Here it is. We got space. Then next, dome-shaped diaphragm. We said about the dome-shaped diaphragm, isn't it? So dome-shaped diaphragm becomes flat. Okay, so their original here. Let me show you. Original here. Okay, so in the same way, sternum, I'll show the original. The original here. So sternum is pulled forward. Then dome-shaped diaphragm is pushed down. So this space we say anterior-posterior space. Anterior-posterior space. And this space we can say dorso-ventral space. Okay, so do you accept this particular, do you think so? That means do you feel it or not? The things which is happening here.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so okay, 1 minute. Let me complete this and after I'll show you the animation. Then, so finally what happened here? Inspiration results. What happened? Inspiration results. Space came, isn't it? Space. By the contraction of external intercostal muscle and by the contraction of anterior posterior space and dorso-ventral space, whatever it may be, volume increases. Do you accept this? Anterior posterior space and dorsoventral space increased. So that brings what here? That brings what here? The volume of thoracic cavity increases. Volume of thoracic cavity increases. Okay. So when the volume of thoracic cavity increases, so very important this one, you see here, as I said to you, pleural parietal peritoneum, outermost layer of the lungs. Earlier I said, it attaches dorsally to the vertebral column and ventrally to the diaphragm, isn't it or not? The dome-shaped diaphragm, posteriorly to the diaphragm. Who is that? Lungs, pleural parietal peritoneum, posteriorly to the diaphragm and laterally to the ribs. We said this is attached laterally to the ribs. Let me use another color. Yeah, laterally to the ribs and anteriorly, ventrally to the sternum. We said it like that. Okay. So when the space come here, this is the sternum. This is the sternum. Okay, so that means when these are all attached. When we say that space increase, automatically lung volume also increases. Lung volume increases. These are all normal words actually that we need to use technical. Intrapulmonary pressure. This is a word to be remembered and this will come in exam. Now you say intrapulmonary pressure will increase or decrease. Intrapulmonary pressure increase or decrease? So simply I'm saying here, let me show you. Let me show you. This is a room. In this room, wait. In this room, the 4 students are there. So what I say, I am increasing, I'm pulling the wall, I'm pulling the wall. So what I am doing here, I am increasing the size of the room. What I am saying, intra student pressure is increased or decreased? అర్థమవుతుందండి? ఇప్పుడు for these 4 students, earlier it's a small room, isn't it? ఇప్పుడు ఏంటది? So that means like this. If it is pulled over, so ikkada pressure undi valaki 4 tight ga unnaru. So ఇప్పుడు now when I increase the room volume, pressure in the room, what happens? Will increase or decrease? Pressure decreases because it should come in from your mind, because that you are going to write here only. This one only you are going to write in examination in the form of statements. Okay. So let me clear this. Example, room example. So then intrapulmonary pressure decreases. What happens? Intrapulmonary pressure decreases. In compare with intrapulmonary pressure decreases. Okay. In comparison with atmospheric pressure. In comparison with, we need to say atmospheric pressure. Okay. So that means here simply we can write like this. Intrapulmonary pressure is less, atmospheric pressure is more. During the process of inspiration, I am writing the output here. I am writing output here now. So intrapulmonary pressure is less than atmospheric pressure. Intrapulmonary pressure is less than atmospheric pressure. Now you have to say what happens then. Yes. Okay, I'll give option. Well, air enters from the atmosphere to lungs. or air that goes out from the lungs to atmosphere? Yeah, when intrapulmonary pressure is less than the atmospheric pressure, air enters into the lungs. Air enters into the lungs. What do you call the process as inspiration? That's all. This process. That means actually only you people need to understand only inspiration, because expiration is so simple. Opposite is true. That's all. Opposite is true. We'll make it. We'll make it. Let's see the expiration process. So expiration process. How does the expiration process is there? Let's see. What are the muscles which are involved in the process of inspiration? Now I can take from you. What are the muscles involved in the process of expiration? Same muscles.
Intercostal muscle.
Yeah, same muscles. I have to say relaxation. Relaxation of external intercostal muscles. Okay. What happened at the time of contraction of external intercostal muscle? Let me show you.
Sternum moves forward.
Yeah, very good. Sternum is moved forward. Sternum is pulled forward. Okay. Then actually pulled is better than the moved. Is, I think it's better. Sternum moves forward. Your word is good, better. Sternum is moved forward. So what we say, relaxation of external intercostal muscle. Sternum comes into normal position.
Yes.
Sternum
Yes.
comes back. Okay, space.
Absent. Dorsoventral space.
Yeah, which is increased over, that will decrease. That's all.
Yes.
Whatever the space we said increased over, that will decrease. Okay. Then next, let's write here. Relaxation of one more. Who is that?
Diaphragm.
Relaxation of phrenic muscle, or radial muscle, or diaphragm muscle. They get relaxed. So then what happens? Yes, what we wrote there, this is automatically opposite you have to write. Dome-shaped diaphragm becomes flat. Okay. Space comes anterior posteriorly. Here what we have to write then? Flat diaphragm again become, flat diaphragm again become dome shape, normal position. Again comes to, that flat diaphragm comes to normal position. That's better. Flat diaphragm comes to normal position. That means, I'll write in bracket, that means dome shape. In the two cases, what happens? In the two cases, lung volume increases or decreases? Yeah, imagine if normal position comes over, what happens? Lung volume definitely decreases. Lung volume definitely decreases. Okay. So, intrapulmonary pressure. Need to talk about that particular intrapulmonary pressure. Intrapulmonary pressure. Yeah, when space decreases, automatically pressure increases. Intrapulmonary pressure is higher than, higher than atmospheric pressure. That brings over normal position again. Atmospheric, higher than the atmospheric pressure, that brings over. Okay. So that intrapulmonary pressure is higher than the atmospheric pressure, which brings air out from the lungs, to atmosphere. Process, what do you say it as? Yeah, process is called expiration. Simply you need to understand contraction of external intercostal muscle. That external intercostal muscles means the muscles between the ribs. The contraction of these particular external intercostal muscle, contraction of the phrenic muscle increases the volume of the thoracic chamber. Increases the volume of the thoracic chamber. That volume of the thoracic chamber increases. Thoracic cavity increases. Okay. The contraction of external intercostal muscle, what they are doing, the lifts up the ribs and sternum causing increase in the volume of thoracic chamber. Okay, so what they are doing, let me type here. Let me type here, contraction of external intercostal muscle. Wait. So what happens? Contraction of external intercostal muscle lifts. Lifts whom? Ribs. Actually, the intercostal muscles are going to be related to the ribs. So that's why lifts whom? Lifts of the ribs. The lips of the ribs. The ribs are attached to whom?
Sternum.
Yeah, that's why. And that connected sternum, lips of the ribs and sternum. Okay. So that causing an increase of volume of the thoracic chamber. That lips of the ribs and sternum. What it brings over? It brings out that thoracic chamber is going to be increased over. Okay, so let me decrease the size. Size decrease, yeah. Contraction of.
Last four ribs are free.
Hmm. Yes, sir. So then leave them. Actually, free ribs are only two, 11 and 12 that we are going to discuss in skeletal manner. It's only two. But nearly what I mean, exactly 7 pairs of ribs are attached to the sternum. Okay, that recently I shown in the diagram. Okay, very good memory, but we'll have that chapter again. Only 11 and 12 are free. Remaining all the ribs, when the muscles are contracted here, automatically they pulled the sternum forward. Very good, very good. Good to ask, but only 11 and 12 are free.
Yes, last.
Okay, then this is inspiration and expiration. This is all about inspiration and expiration. Okay, wait a minute. That I'll show you this particular animation. I'll show you that. Wait a minute. So I'll show you here. That's it. Can you see this clearly?
Yes, sir.
You're getting the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you see here in the mechanism of breathing, this is the dome shaped red one. The red one is a dome shaped diaphragm. And this is sternum. Sternum is pulled forward. We said, isn't it? Sternum is pulled forward. There you can see the sternum is pulled forward. Here it is. This is sternum, and these are the ribs which attaches to the sternum. And I said over, lungs are completely packed, which attaches to the vertebral column, sternum, ribs, and dome-shaped diaphragm. So that's why when we say that when diaphragm contracts, when diaphragm becomes flattened, the vertical volume, what I mean, vertical volume, anterior-posterior axis, means here we can show like this. Anterior-posterior axis. This is anterior side and this is posterior side. So lung volume increase anterior-posterior axis. We can say like this. I think white is better. This is anterior posterior axis. Okay. Then external intercostal muscle contraction, ribs and sternum lifts up. Ribs and sternum is getting lifted up. That I just shown that in the previous diagram. Here you can see. We can feel all of this. That మనకు తెలుస్తూ ఉంటుందండి. Sternum is lifted up. So space comes here. What kind of space will come here? The space comes here. This is the space. The space here, it is said to be, this is dorsal side and ventral side. So here the space comes, and here one more space. What do you say? This is anterior side and this is posterior side. So by the contraction of external intercostal muscle, space come dorsoventrally. By the contraction of radial muscles of the diaphragm, space come anterior posteriorly. Is it clear? Sure. Moving forward. So thoracic pressure is reduced. When the space is increased automatically, what happens? Thoracic pressure is reduced. Lungs expand and pulmonary volume increases. Lungs expand and pulmonary volume increases. Intrapulmonary pressure decreases. Air move outside into the lungs. So finally, air move outside into the lungs. Okay, I'll show you the air. No, nobody can show the air, but at least we can imagine the air. Okay, so air move outside into the lungs. So that's it. This might have feel it as air. Okay, next. So intercostal muscles and diaphragm muscles relax during expiration process. What we can say, intercostal muscles and diaphragm muscles relax. Okay, when they relax, what happens? Thoracic volume decrease. You see here, dome-shaped diaphragm went back again. You can see the dome-shaped diaphragm. Here it is, the dome-shaped diaphragm. Went back to its original position. Here it is. So lung volume is decreased. Then thoracic volume decreases, automatically lung volume also decrease. Then pulmonary volume decrease. Intrapulmonary pressure increases. Here you have to understand, intrapulmonary pressure increases. In this case, intrapulmonary pressure increases. So that brings out the air from lungs to the outside. That brings out the air from lungs to the atmosphere. So that's it. This is a complete story of inspiration, expiration. So I think only one muscle we didn't use it till the time. What is that? In the given list, we didn't use it, that internal intercostal muscle. Yeah, internal intercostal muscle along with the abdominal muscle, what they are helpful for? They are helpful for forcible expiration. At the time when we are doing forcible expiration, these muscles are helpful. Abdominal muscle we can feel when we are doing Kapalapati. So that is nothing but forcible expiration. When we are doing Kapalapati, do you know that?
Yes, sir.
Yoga. So that what we are doing. There we are doing forcible expiration. We are using internal intercostal muscles and as well as abdominal muscles. That's it. This is all about the mechanism of breathing. Here you have to remember that particular respiratory cycle. One respiratory cycle equal to an inspiration and expiration process. Normal respiration generally occur 12 to 16 times per minute. Spirometer is there to measure the respiratory rate. We have a spirometer that to measure the respiratory rate. Okay. Then among the two, inspiration and expiration, what do you feel? So which one is the active process? Inspiration or expiration? Who is the active process? Where energy is utilized, that is called active. Here, inspiration is a active process. You have to remember, inspiration is the active process. Here you see in the expiration, just we are saying muscles are getting relaxed. So this is the passive process. Inspiration is the active process. Expiration is the passive process. So that's it all about the issues related to the mechanism of breathing. We are completed the mechanism of breathing, and then we need to start the story with the lung volumes. Lung volumes. We need to start the story with lung volumes.